You should have stayed out of it, little girl. Vincent Cross pressed the cold barrel of his pistol against Sarah Mitchell's temple and smiled like a man who had done this 100 times before. Her wrists were bound behind her back with zip ties that had cut so deep the plastic had disappeared into swollen flesh. Duct tape stretched cruel across her mouth. Blood ran from the split in her cheek where his ring had torn the skin open when he had struck her 3 hours ago in the basement of a warehouse she would never leave alive. 22 years old, Cross whispered the words like a prayer. And you thought you could bring down Vincent Cross. You thought those little files of yours were going to matter. He laughed, low and ugly, the kind of laugh that came from a man who had buried his conscience in the same holes where he buried his problems. Then he shoved her forward. She stumbled. Her knees hit frozen earth. The shallow grave his men had already dug in the Wyoming wilderness opened beneath her like a mouth. Bury her deep, boys. Let the wolves find what's left of her in the spring. Sarah's muffled scream died as the first shovel of dirt struck her face. And 3 miles away through a forest of snow-covered pines, a German shepherd named Rex lifted his nose to the wind and began to growl. Before we go one step further into the story, my friend, I need you to do something for me. I need you to drop the name of your state down in the comments right now, because I want to see how far this story travels across this beautiful country of ours. I want to know if the truth still matters to people like you. And if your heart is already pounding the way mine is, stay with me. Stay all the way to the end, because what happens next will restore your faith that good men still exist in this world, that evil does not always win, and that sometimes, just sometimes, God puts the right person in the right place at exactly the right time. Now take a deep breath, sit back, and let me tell you about a single father, his dog, in a winter morning that changed everything. Marcus Kane tightened the collar of his jacket against the Wyoming wind and tried the way he always tried not to look at the empty passenger seat of his truck. 6 years since Rachel's laugh had filled that seat. 6 years since the army had knocked on his door with a folded flag and words that still did not make sense. Killed in action, helicopter malfunction, Afghanistan. Most days he wore it well. He had learned to. You do not raise a 7-year-old daughter alone without learning to lock the grief in a small room at the back of your mind and only visit it late at night when she's asleep. But today, for reasons he could not explain today, it sat heavy on his shoulders like wet snow. Come on, boy. Rex jumped down from the bed of the pickup and shook himself from ears to tail. 90 pounds of working German shepherd. Coat black and tan, eyes the color of good whiskey. Scars on his muzzle that told a story Marcus did not talk about at church potlucks. Rex had come home with him from Kandahar. Rex had pulled him out from under a pile of rubble in a village whose name Marcus still could not pronounce. Rex had earned every single biscuit, every single belly rub, every single soft place on the couch for the rest of his natural life. We're just walking today, partner. Marcus said it more to himself than to the dog. No work, I promise. Rex looked up at him, and Marcus would have sworn in a court of law that the dog knew he was lying. He had told his daughter the same thing that morning, kneeling in the front hallway of his mother's house with her tiny pink snow boots in his hands. Daddy will be home before supper, Lilybug. Promise. She had held out her smallest finger. Pinky promise. He had hooked his big, rough finger around hers. Pinky. I love you to the moon, Daddy. And back twice, just to be sure. Being a single father did something to a man. It made every goodbye feel like a contract you were terrified you would not live long enough to honor. He pushed the thought away and stepped into the tree line. Rex moved through the snow beside him. Quiet as a whisper, silent as only a dog trained for war could be silent. 30 minutes passed, maybe 40. The sun tried and failed to reach the forest floor through the heavy pine canopy overhead. The temperature had dropped to -15. Marcus's breath came out in white clouds that hung in the air like ghosts. And then all at once, Rex stopped. Rex, heel. The dog did not heel. The dog's ears had locked forward. The dog's tail had gone stiff as a board. Every muscle in Rex's body had tightened into the exact shape Marcus had seen 1,000 times overseas. It was the shape of a dying who had just found something no civilian was ever supposed to find. "What is it, buddy? Talk to me." Rex took 3 slow steps off the trail. Then he lowered his head and he began to dig. Not happy digging, not chasing a squirrel, methodical, frantic. His front paws tore at the packed snow like his life depended on what was underneath. "Rex, easy, easy, boy. Let me see." Marcus pulled off one glove with his teeth and crouched down beside his dog. He brushed the snow away with his bare hand. The cold bit into his knuckles, but he did not feel it because what he saw in the snow at his feet was a scatter of pine needles and bits of dark earth. And any man with half his training could see it at a glance. Somebody had been here recently. Within hours. "Move, boy. Let me see." He pulled Rex back and he began to dig himself, slow, careful, the way you dig when you are afraid of what you are going to find. His fingers brushed something soft. Not earth, not root. He scraped more snow away and his heart dropped straight through the soles of his boots. Hair. Human hair. Oh God. Oh dear God, no. He clawed now, fast, desperate. A forehead appeared, blue-tinged, frost on the eyelashes. A young woman's face, pale as paper, a strip of gray duct tape sealing her mouth shut. A dark bruise bloomed across her cheekbone like an ugly flower. No, 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 no. His hand went to her throat. He pressed 2 fingers against the side of her neck. He waited. Nothing. He moved his fingers. He pressed harder. Still nothing. "Please, please, sweetheart. Please be in there." And then so faint he almost missed it. A pulse, thready, stubborn, a heartbeat fighting for its life in a body that had every reason to quit. "She's alive. Rex, she's alive. Oh, thank God. Thank God." His knife was already in his hand. He did not remember drawing it. His training had taken over the way it always took over when things went sideways. He cleared the snow away from her shoulders, from her arms, from her chest. Her hands were bound behind her back with plastic zip ties that had cut so deep into her wrists, the skin around them looked like raw meat. "Who did this to you?" He whispered it even though she could not hear. "Who in God's name did this?" He cut the ties. He peeled the duct tape from her mouth as gently as his shaking fingers would allow. The instant it came free, she made a sound that Marcus Kane would carry with him to his grave. A rattling, desperate breath. The sound of a body dragging itself back from the lip of the pit. "That's it, sweetheart. That's it. Breathe for me. Breathe." Her eyes did not open, but she was breathing. He stripped off his jacket and wrapped her in it. Then he stripped off the fleece under it and wrapped her again. His skin screamed in the cold. He did not care. He lifted her out of the grave and she weighed nothing, nothing at all in his arms. And that was when he saw it. On the inside of her right forearm, just above the angry red line where the zip tie had bitten her. 3 black letters and a single number had been inked into her skin. He knew that tattoo. Every SEAL in the United States Navy knew that tattoo. "You have got to be kidding me." He breathed the words. "You're one of us. You're a SEAL." She could not have been more than 25 years old. A baby, somebody's daughter, somebody's little sister. Somebody was sitting in a living room somewhere in America right now, wondering why their phone had gone so quiet. Rex barked, sharp and hard. "I know, boy, I know. We're going. We're going right now." He settled her against his chest and he turned to run. And that was the moment his training noticed the thing his eyes had been avoiding. Boot prints, 3 sets at least. Heavy tread, not hunter boots, military issue or contractor issue. The snow around those prints had not even begun to harden, which meant whoever had buried this girl was still in these woods. Rex. Scan. The dog's head whipped to the right. His lip curled back from his teeth. A growl came out of Rex's chest that Marcus had heard exactly twice before in his life. Both times in a war zone. Both times about 30 seconds before somebody shot at him. Marcus's eyes tracked the dog's nose, 200 yards off at the edge of the tree line. A shape, a man watching, and in the man's hand something long, something dark, something that might have been a rifle. Oh, you son of a gun. He hitched the girl tighter against his chest, and he broke into a full sprint through the snow. Rex rear guard. Move. The dog fell in behind him, still growling, still watching their six. That truck felt 10 miles away instead of a quarter mile. Every tree he passed, he braced for the bullet. Every branch that snapped under his boot sounded like the hammer of a rifle coming back. He kept his own body between the girl and the tree line. If a round came, it was going to have to travel through him first. Hang on, kid. He whispered it, his breath ragged. Hang on. You survived, Buds. I know you did. A baby girl does not get that tattoo without earning it. You survived, Buds, and you are not going to die in my arms today. Her chest rose, her chest fell, weak, stubborn, fighting. He reached the truck. He kicked the driver's door open. Rex up, in. Rex launched into the cab. Marcus laid the girl across the bench like she was made of spun glass. He climbed in beside her. He twisted the key. The engine roared, and he slammed the heater up as high as it would go. And only then, only once the truck was moving. Only once there was some metal between that shooter and this child did his hands begin to shake. He fumbled his phone out of his pocket. 911. What is your emergency? My name is Marcus Kane, former United States Navy. I need an air ambulance and I need the nearest FBI field office looped in on this line right now. I have a female approximately 25 years of age, severe hypothermia, ligature wounds to both wrists, facial contusions consistent with a beating. She was buried alive, ma'am. She was buried alive in the snow, and I pulled her out. I am northbound on Forest Service Road 407, north end of Teton County. I believe she is active duty Navy. I believe she is a SEAL. I believe the men who tried to kill her are still in these woods. There was a long, sharp silence on the other end of the line. Sir, stay on the line. Help is on the way. Ma'am, listen to me carefully. No sirens. Not until 5 miles out. If the shooters hear the helicopter come in hot, they will run. I want them caught. You hear me? I want them caught. Sir, your name again? Marcus Kane, Master Chief, retired. Team 6, I will give a full statement at the hospital, but right now this little girl needs a helicopter, and she needs it yesterday. He hung up. There was no time for another word. He grabbed the girl's cold hand, and he folded it between his own, and he squeezed. Stay with me, sailor. You stay with me. That is an order from a Master Chief, and you do not disobey a Master Chief. Do you hear me? Rex laid his big blocky head down on the edge of the seat beside her. The dog looked at her the way a dog looks at a wounded packmate. His nostrils flared. He let out a low, mournful whine that was almost human in its grief. I know, boy, Marcus said, and his voice cracked right in half. I know. The minutes did not pass. They crawled. They groaned by like old men on bad knees. He kept one eye on the rearview mirror, waiting for headlights for a muzzle flash for whatever was coming next. He kept one hand on her wrist, counting out each stubborn little beat against the pad of his thumb. Once her pulse faded so far, he could not find it at all, and his whole heart stopped with it. Don't you dare, come back. Come on, kid. Come back to me. It came back, weaker, but there. Somewhere around the 12-minute mark, her eyelids fluttered. Just a flicker. Just long enough for Marcus to see that her eyes were gray. Gray as the winter sky over the Tetons. There you are. Hi. Hi, honey. My name is Marcus. I've got you. You are safe. You are in a truck. You are going to a hospital. You are safe. Her lips moved. No sound came out. Just the shape of a word. He bent closer, his ear almost against her mouth. What is it, sweetheart? Tell me. I'm listening. Just one whisper. One breath of a word. Cross. Her eyes rolled back. Her body went slack. No, 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 come back. Hey, hey, stay with me. But she was gone again, back into that dark place a body sometimes hides in to survive what the waking mind cannot. He checked her pulse. Still there, thready. Still there. Cross. He said it aloud to the cab, to the dog, to himself. Cross. What is Cross? He did not know it yet, but he had just heard the name of the man who had put her in that grave. He did not know it yet, but he had just become the second most dangerous person in the state of Wyoming to a man whose name appeared on the tax returns of 3 separate defense contractors and on the guest list of 2 different senators. He did not know it yet, but by speaking that single word, that brave, half-dead child had just painted a target on his back and on his daughters and on his dogs. The helicopter came in low over the tree line with its blades slapping the cold air. Marcus Kane raised one hand and flagged it down in the middle of Forest Service Road 407. Rex barked at his side, ears up, tail stiff. Flight medics poured out of the bird. They loaded the girl onto a stretcher. They threaded warm IVs into both her arms. They wrapped her in foil and blankets and pumped oxygen into her lungs. One of them, a young woman with a braid and tired eyes, turned back to Marcus before she climbed in. "Sir, you saved her life. You understand that 5 more minutes and we would not be having this conversation." Marcus did not answer her because 200 yards off at the edge of the woods, he had seen the man again. A shape, a silhouette, watching them. And this time the man lifted something to his face, something that could have been a phone or a radio. And he spoke into it, calmly, without hurry, like a man reporting the weather. Then he lowered his hand and he turned and he walked away into the trees the way a man walks who has all the time in the world. Marcus's jaw locked up so hard his teeth hurt. "Rex." The dog's eyes came up to his. "Mark him. Mark that scent." Rex's nostrils flared. His ears swiveled. He drew in every molecule on the wind the way only a working dog can. And Marcus watched the dog file that scent away in the part of his brain that never forgot anything ever. Good boy, Rex. We'll see him again." He laid a hand on the dog's head. Then he climbed up into the helicopter with the medics. He did not look back at the tree line. He refused to give that shadow the satisfaction. 2 hours later, Marcus was pacing a corridor on the 3rd floor of Jackson Hole Memorial Hospital, still in the blood-stained fleece that had soaked through on the drive. He had called his mother. He had told her Emma could not come to the hospital tonight. He had told his mother to lock the doors. He had not told his mother why. 2 FBI agents had come down from the field office in Cheyenne. The one doing most of the talking was a woman named Kate Sullivan, mid-30s, sharp eyes, the kind of agent who asked a question once and never asked it the same way twice. "Mr. Kane, Marcus, walk with me." They walked. Rex padded along behind them, which was technically against hospital policy, but Rex had a way about him that made people stop arguing real quick. "The young woman you pulled out of the snow," Sullivan said it quietly. "We ran her prints. Her name is Lieutenant Sarah Mitchell, United States Navy, 25 years old. She is, as you suspected, one of ours. One of the first women ever to clear into a DevGru support billet. Graduated top of her class at Annapolis. Family. Her father was a chief warrant officer. Killed in action when she was 9. Mother passed from cancer 3 years ago. She has a younger brother in foster care in Idaho. Nobody else." Marcus closed his eyes. He thought of Emma. He thought of pink snow boots. He thought of a little girl losing her father the way that young woman in ICU had lost hers. "She's alone." He said it. "She's alone." Sullivan agreed. "No, she's not," Marcus said. "Not anymore." Sullivan glanced up at him. Something shifted in her face. She did not argue. She was supposed to be on rotation in Virginia. Sullivan continued. "She has been missing 4 days. The Navy has been looking for her, very, very quietly." "Why quietly?" Sullivan's steps slowed because Lieutenant Mitchell was not just training. She was running an internal investigation. She had access to documents. We believe she was about to bring charges against a man with enough rank, enough money, and enough friends in Washington to make a 25-year-old lieutenant vanish off the face of the earth. Cross. Marcus said it quietly. Agent Sullivan stopped walking. She turned very slowly and she looked at him. What did you just say? When I pulled her out of that snow, she opened her eyes for about 2 seconds. That was the only word she said. Cross. Sullivan's face went the color of the hospital wall. Jesus Christ, she whispered it. Who is he not here, not in this hallway? Find us a room, a secure one. And Marcus Kane retired. Master Chief Team 6, single father of a 7-year-old girl named Emma, felt the floor tilt under his boots because he had seen that look on the face of an intelligence officer exactly one other time in his life, in a plywood briefing room in Kabul the day he had lost 2 of his brothers. It was the look of a professional realizing that the war had just come home. They found a small conference room. She shut the door. She turned the lock. She drew the blinds. Sit down. She said it. Before I tell you a single word, you need to understand what you walked into today. Tell me, the moment you pulled that girl out of the ground, Marcus, you became a witness. And in the eyes of the people who put her there, a witness is a loose end. You are a loose end. Your mother is a loose end. Your daughter is a loose end. I'm sorry, I know that's hard to hear, but you need to hear it before you hear anything else. He thought about Emma's pinky finger hooked around his. He thought about, I love you to the moon, Daddy. He thought about a little girl in pink snow boots who had already lost her mother and who did not, under any circumstances on any day, in any universe, get to lose her father next. Tell me everything. His voice was very calm. His voice was very quiet. His voice was the voice Agent Sullivan had heard exactly once before over a radio coming out of a SEAL team leader calling in the coordinates of a compound in Yemen. She nodded once. All right, then strap in, because this one goes a lot deeper than you think. Down the hallway in the ICU, Sarah Mitchell's heart was still beating, barely. And in the parking garage, 3 floors below them, a man in a brown delivery uniform was stepping out of an unmarked white van. He carried a clipboard in his left hand. He carried a package in his right hand. And under the left panel of his jacket, tucked into a Kydex holster against his ribs, he carried a subsonic pistol with a threaded barrel and 2 spare magazines. He checked his watch. He adjusted the bill of his cap. And he began unhurried, as a man with all the time in the world to walk toward the service entrance of Jackson Hole Memorial Hospital. Inside that hospital on the 3rd floor, Rex lifted his head off the tile and stared at the elevator doors. And the big German shepherd began very softly, very low in his chest to growl. Rex's growl deepened into something Marcus had not heard from him since Kandahar. Agent Sullivan, I'm talking. Agent Sullivan, look at my dog. She looked and she stopped talking. Rex was on his feet. His hackles had risen in a thick black ridge from his shoulders, was all the way down to the base of his tail. His eyes were locked on the conference room door, and the low rumble coming out of his chest was the exact sound Marcus had last heard about 4 seconds before a suicide bomber had walked into a market in Ramadi. Get up, Marcus said it. Mr. Kane, get up right now, ma'am. Something is wrong. He was already moving. He cracked the door. He looked left, then right. Hospital staff, a janitor, a man in blue scrubs pushing an empty gurney. Nothing obvious, nothing you could put in a report. But Rex was still growling. Where is Sarah ICU, room 311, 2 doors down from the nurse's station? Who is guarding her local officer? Officer Pruitt. Good man, 1 officer, Marcus. We just got here. I've got 3 agents en route from Cheyenne. They're 40 minutes out. She doesn't have 40 minutes. He was already down the hallway. Rex 10 feet ahead of him. Sullivan jogging to keep up with her badge bouncing against her chest. The dog did not stop at the nurse's station. The dog did not slow down at all. The dog went straight to the door marked 311, planted himself across the threshold, and bared every tooth in his head at the man in the brown delivery uniform standing next to Sarah Mitchell's bed. Sir, the man said, it calm as Sunday morning. I was just leaving flowers. Step away from the patient. Sir, I'm with Pennington Florist. I'll set these down and be on my way. I said, step away from the patient. The delivery man smiled, a thin smile, a patient smile, the smile of a man who had been in tighter spots than this one and had walked out of all of them. Of course. He set the vase down on the side table, very slowly, very politely. His right hand came up empty, palm open, the way a man shows you his hand when he is about to move the other one somewhere you do not want it to go. Rex launched. 90 pounds of German Shepherd cleared the hospital floor in a single low horizontal blur and hit the delivery man in the chest like a linebacker. And the pistol that had been halfway out of the Kydex rig under his jacket went skittering across the linoleum and slid to a stop against the baseboard. Gun. Officer Pruitt, bless his country heart, drew his weapon so fast the holster clapped. Down, 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 get down on the ground. The delivery man was already down. He was down because Rex was standing on his sternum with all four paws, and Rex's jaws were 6 inches from his face. And Rex was informing him in a language every mammal on the planet understands that any further motion would be his last. Easy, Rex, easy. Hold him. The dog held him. Sullivan had her phone out. I need backup at Jackson Hole Memorial ICU. Armed intruder in custody. Repeat. Armed intruder in custody. Lock the building down. Nobody in, nobody out. Check him. Marcus said it. Pruitt and Sullivan searched the man while Rex breathed hot onto his throat. A suppressor, 2 spare magazines. A folding knife with a thumb stud, a burner phone, no wallet, no ID, no delivery paperwork. Nothing you could not buy with cash in a parking lot behind a gun show in Idaho. Who sent you? Sullivan said it. The man looked up at her and smiled with his teeth. I don't know what you're talking about, ma'am. I'm just a florist. Marcus crouched down. He looked into the man's eyes. There was nothing in them. No fear, no hate, not even annoyance. There was the flat, empty calm of a professional who had already accepted that this day might end in a prison or in a ditch, and who did not particularly care which. How much did he pay you? I want a lawyer. I didn't ask if you wanted a lawyer. I asked how much he paid you. I want a lawyer. This is the wrong building to try this in, brother. I want a lawyer. Marcus stood up. His jaw worked. He looked at Sarah lying still in the bed, tubes in her arms, a monitor beeping steady and brave above her head. He looked at the flowers on the side table. He picked the vase up. He turned it in his hand. Then he carried it very calmly into the bathroom, and he poured the water down the sink. Agent Sullivan, yeah, get a hazmat team to test this vase. Marcus, get a hazmat team to test this vase, please. She looked at the man on the floor. She looked at the flowers. She did not argue. Copy that. She said it. Officer Pruitt cuffed the intruder, and 2 more uniforms came pounding down the hallway, and the building went into lockdown. And within 15 minutes, every single elevator in Jackson Hole Memorial was stopped. Every stairwell was sealed, and every visitor on every floor had a badge in their face asking them politely who they were and who they were there to see. Marcus stood in the doorway of room 311 with one hand resting on Rex's head and watched them wheel the delivery man out in handcuffs. The man did not look back. Men like that never look back. He won't talk. Marcus said it. I know. By this time tomorrow, he'll be dead in a holding cell. Won't he, Marcus? Won't he, Agent Sullivan? A long pause. Probably. She said it quietly. Yes? He nodded. He had known since the moment he saw that flat, empty look in the man's eyes exactly what kind of operation he was looking at. You did not find cleaners like that on Craigslist. You did not send cleaners like that unless you could replace them. And you did not replace them unless the bench behind them was very, very deep. All right? He said it. Tell me about Cross. Sullivan closed the door. She pulled the blinds on the interior window. She sat down on the empty chair next to Sarah's bed, and she pressed the heels of her hands into her eye sockets for a long 3 seconds before she spoke. Vincent Cross, she said it. Age 58, Ex-Army intelligence. Honorable discharge, 1996. Founded a private military contracting company called Cross Defense Corporation. CDC has $3 billion in standing contracts with the Department of Defense, another $1.5 billion with the state. He has a house in McLean, a house in Jackson Hole, a house in a country I am not going to name in this room. He plays golf with 3 senators. He donated to both presidential candidates in the last cycle. His daughter is engaged to the son of a sitting federal judge. Keep going. About 18 months ago, a Navy logistics officer started noticing a pattern. Small shipments of weapons parts and munitions going missing between depots. Nothing huge. A crate here, a crate there. The kind of shrinkage that usually gets chalked up to paperwork. Except she started keeping a private spreadsheet, and when she added it up, it wasn't small anymore. It was hundreds of millions of dollars in material going somewhere it was not supposed to go. To people we are not supposed to be arming. Sarah. She took the spreadsheet to her chain of command. Her chain of command told her she was mistaken. She kept digging. She found wire transfers, shell companies. One of those shell companies led her to a name, Cross Defense Corporation. 2 weeks ago, she walked into NCIS with a thumb drive. NCIS kicked it up to us. We were supposed to be bringing her in last Friday for a protected interview. Friday morning, she went for a run outside her apartment in Virginia Beach and did not come home. And she ended up in the snow in Wyoming. Why Wyoming? Because her family has a cabin 40 miles from where you found her. It's in her mother's maiden name. Cross's people must have pulled it under interrogation somewhere, and the cabin was in her file. And they decided Teton County in January was a nice quiet place to make a lieutenant disappear. She was coming home. Sullivan said it softly. She was trying to get to the one place in the world where she still had something like family, and they buried her half a mile from the driveway. Marcus was quiet a long time. Where is the thumb drive? That is the question of the year, Mr. Kane. NCIS has a copy, but when our forensic team opened it this morning, half the files were corrupted. Somebody got to the original server. Whatever Sarah had that was going to sink Vincent Cross is not on the copy we have. It is on whatever she hid before they grabbed her. Then she's the only person alive who knows where it is. She is. And Cross knows that. Which is why he just sent a man with a suppressor into an ICU room. Yes. Marcus looked down at Sarah Mitchell, 25 years old, freckles across the bridge of her nose, a small scar on her chin. She looked like somebody's baby sister, which she was. She looked like somebody's daughter, which she had been. She looked like somebody who deserved at the very least the chance to wake up. I'm staying, he said it. Mr. Kane. I am staying in this room, in this chair, until she opens her eyes. If Cross sends another one, he is going to have to come through my door, and then he is going to have to come through me. And by the time he gets to this bed, ma'am, I promise you somebody is going to be in handcuffs or somebody is going to be in a bag. Sullivan studied him. You have a daughter, don't you, Marcus? I do. Where is she right now? With my mother, 90 miles south of here. Does anybody outside this room know that Marcus's stomach dropped through his boots for the second time that day? My mother's address is in the county assessor's database. Anybody with a computer in 10 minutes can find it. Call her. I'm calling her. He pulled out his phone. His mother picked up on the second ring. Mom, Marcus. Thank God. Are you all right? The news is saying there's been some kind of incident up at Jackson Hole Memorial. I was just about to text you. Mom, listen to me. I need you to do exactly what I say. Something in his voice made her go quiet. All right, she said it. I'm listening. Pack a bag for you and Emma, 5 minutes worth. Clothes, her stuffed rabbit, her inhaler. My revolver is in the lockbox under my bed. The code is your anniversary date. Load it and put it in the glove compartment. Then I want you to drive, not the interstate, the back roads, up to Uncle Ray's place in Cody. Do you remember how to get there without the GPS? I can find it. Don't use the GPS. Don't call anybody on the way. When you get to Ray's, tell him I said the words blue water, unquote, and he'll know what to do. Tell Emma we're playing a game. Tell Emma Daddy will be there as soon as he can. Marcus, what is going on, Mom? What's going on? He closed his eyes. He pictured Emma's pink snow boots. A very bad man is angry at me. I am going to handle it. But until I handle it, I need you and my daughter somewhere that man cannot find. Please. A long pause on the other end. Blue water. His mother repeated it. Blue water. All right, son. I love you. Be careful. I love you too, Mom. Kiss her for me. He hung up. He put both hands flat on the rail of Sarah Mitchell's hospital bed, and he bent forward until his forehead was almost touching the blanket. And for about 6 seconds, Marcus Kane let himself shake. Just 6 seconds. Then he straightened up, and the shaking was gone. And the man who stood upright in that room was not the man who had bent down. The man who stood upright was the man the United States Navy had spent a decade and a half forging in every ugly corner of the Hindu Kush. Agent Sullivan. Yes, I am not a federal agent anymore. I am a civilian. I understand that. I am going to respect that. But I am also telling you right now on the record that if Cross sends another team into this hospital, I am going to do whatever is necessary to stop them. Do we have an understanding? Sullivan looked at the dog, looked at the man, looked at the girl in the bed. We have an understanding, she said it. At 12 minutes past 11, Sarah Mitchell opened her eyes. Marcus was the only one in the room. Rex was on the floor at his feet. Sullivan had stepped into the corridor to take a secure call from Washington. The hallway beyond the blinds was dim and quiet the way hospitals get at night when the overhead lights dim down and the whole building seems to hold its breath. He noticed because Rex noticed first. The dog's head came up off his paws. His tail thumped once softly against the linoleum. And when Marcus looked up, a pair of gray eyes was watching him from the pillow. Hey, he said it very quietly. Hey there, sailor. Her lips moved. Her throat worked. Her voice when it came out was a rasp. Where Jackson Hole Memorial, Upper Peninsula, you are safe. My name is Marcus Kane. I'm the one who pulled you out. She processed this slowly. He watched her process it. Dog. He smiled in spite of himself. You remember the dog Cold Nose? That's him. His name is Rex. He's the one that found you. You owe him a steak for the rest of his life. Rex, she whispered it. Her hand moved under the blanket, an inch, 2 inches, in the dog's direction. Rex was there before Marcus could say a word. The dog laid his big head gently on the edge of her bed, close enough that her fingers could brush the soft fur between his ears. Sarah's eyes closed. One tear slipped out of the corner and into her hair. She did not make a sound. You were asking for me, Marcus said it softly. I was asking for anybody. Well, I heard you. She opened her eyes again. Who knows I'm here? Right now, my dog, the FBI agent in the hallway, 2 cops, a trauma team, and the man who sent somebody to kill you in this bed 4 hours ago. Her pupils contracted. Where is he custody? Alive. Cuffed. On his way to a federal facility. She let out a long, shaky breath. He won't make it to morning. I know. They'll kill him, I know. Sarah, she turned her face toward him, and for the first time her voice came out not as a rasp, but as a whisper with something hard in the bottom of it. You know my name. I do. Then you know who did this. I know his name. Yes, say it. Cross. Her eyes closed. Her fingers dug gently into the fur on the top of Rex's head. Say it again. Vincent Cross, again. Vincent Cross. He killed my mother. She whispered it. Marcus went very still. Your mother passed from cancer. Stage 4. Diagnosed 6 months after she filed a whistleblower complaint against Cross's first company in 2015. The tumor they pulled out of her was not a normal tumor. My father's old unit ran a private tox screen on the tissue. I have the report. I have it on a drive. The drive is why I'm here. Marcus did not breathe for a long moment. Where is it, Sarah? She opened her eyes. They were wet. They were angry. They were the gray of cold steel. I'll tell you, she said it. But first you have to promise me something. Anything. If I don't make it out of this hospital, don't talk like that. If I don't make it out of this hospital, Marcus Kane, you have to promise me you will finish what I started. You have to promise me you will put Vincent Cross in a box. You have to promise me on whatever you love most in this world that you will not let him walk. Marcus thought about Emma's pinky finger. He thought about a little pink snow boot. He thought about his mother driving up a back road in the dark with a revolver in the glove compartment and a scared 7-year-old in the back seat asking when she was going to see Daddy again. And he thought about a stage 4 tumor on a whistleblower. I swear it. He said it. On what? On my daughter's life. I swear it. Sarah's eyes filled. Her jaw set. All right, she said it. Then listen carefully because I am only going to say this one time. The door of the room opened. Agent Sullivan stepped back inside. Her phone still pressed to her ear, her face the color of the wall behind her. Marcus, not now, Marcus. We have a problem, ma'am. Respectfully, it can wait 60 seconds. It cannot wait. The man we arrested, the delivery driver, yes. He was found dead in the back of the transport van 2 minutes ago. No officer ever left the vehicle. The doors never opened. The cameras caught nothing. Sarah's hand clamped around Rex's fur. Told you, she whispered it. Sullivan kept going. And there is something else. Forensics just pulled something out of his jacket. A second burner. It was in a pocket we missed on the first search. What's on it? Agent Sullivan. Sullivan hesitated. Hesitated in a way Marcus did not like at all. It's a photograph of your mother's car, Marcus, parked in the lot of a diner 30 minutes south of here. Timestamp is 22 minutes ago. Your daughter's in the back seat. They were not coming for Sarah Marcus. That delivery driver. He was not the hit. He was a distraction. The air went out of the room. Marcus Kane stood up so fast the chair fell over behind him. Rex, the dog, was already at his heel. Agent Sullivan, you guard this woman with your life. Do you understand me? You do not leave this room. You do not trust a nurse. You do not trust a doctor. You do not trust a janitor. You do not trust anybody who is not already standing in this room. I am going to get my child. Marcus, we can have a unit there and I am going to get my child. Marcus, ma'am, I am going to get my child. Sarah grabbed his wrist. Her grip was weak. It was still enough to stop him. Marcus, Sarah, I have to. The drive. She said it. If something happens to me before you come back. Teton Pass, north side. There's a boathouse that belonged to my grandfather under the 3rd floorboard from the door in a metal tin. Sarah, say it back to me. Teton Pass, north side. Boathouse, 3rd floorboard from the door, metal tin, go get your baby. He squeezed her hand. He looked at Sullivan one more time. Sullivan already had her sidearm out. Safety off. Body between Sarah and the door. Go. Sullivan said it. Go. Marcus went. He took the stairs 3 at a time. Rex, a black and tan streak beside him. He came out of the stairwell on the 1st floor into a lobby full of nurses and state troopers in flashing red and blue through the glass doors. And he did not stop for any of them. He crossed the lobby at a dead run. He slammed through the revolving door and into the parking lot, and the cold slapped him in the face like a hand. Truck. Rex. Truck. Rex ran. Marcus ran. And as he ran, his phone buzzed in his pocket. He yanked it out without slowing. An unknown number. A text message. 3 words. We have her. Then a photograph. Emma, his 7-year-old daughter, tears on her cheeks, a man's gloved hand on the back of her neck, her pink snow boots on the floor of an unfamiliar car, and beneath the picture 4 more words. Bring us the drive. Marcus's thumb hovered over the screen. He did not slow down. He did not stop. He yanked the truck door open. Rex vaulted into the passenger seat. The engine turned over on the first crank, and Marcus Kane, Master Chief, retired. Single father pulled out of Jackson Hole Memorial Hospital into the black Wyoming night, with both hands white-knuckled on the wheel, and a photograph of his crying child burning on the screen of his phone. He had one thought, and one thought only. Somebody in this world was about to learn what a father would do. The phone buzzed again. Another text. "You have 1 hour." Marcus's thumb moved before his brain did. He thumbed the phone onto speaker and tossed it on the dash, and he called his mother. It rang, it rang, it rang. "Pick up, Mom. Pick up, pick up, pick up." It rang. Voicemail. "Hi, you've reached Helen Morrison. Please leave." He hung up. He called again. Voicemail. He called a third time. Voicemail. His hand was shaking so hard he almost dropped the phone trying to set it back down. Rex looked at him from the passenger seat and made a low whining sound in his throat. The sound Rex made when he could smell fear on his handler and did not know how to help. "It's okay, boy. It's okay. We're going to get her." He did not believe his own words. His own words tasted like tin in his mouth. The diner in the photograph had a yellow sign over the door. He knew that sign. It was the Wagon Wheel down on Route 26, a truck stop his mother had been going to since before Marcus was born. The photograph had been taken 22 minutes ago, meaning his mother had stopped to get Emma something warm to eat on the back road he had told her to take. Meaning whoever had been watching their house had followed. Meaning Marcus had sent them into the trap himself. That thought, that one thought, was going to chew him alive if he let it. He shoved it into a small steel box at the back of his mind, and he sat on the lid of it. Focus Kane. The truck pushed 90 down the empty two-lane. The speedometer needle vibrated against the pin. Salt and grit sprayed up from the tires. A deer stepped toward the road, and Marcus laid on the horn, and the deer vanished back into the dark, and he did not slow down by a single mile. His phone rang. "Sullivan, yeah." "Marcus, slow down. Listen to me. I have a helicopter in the air. We've got the plate from your mother's car pulled up on every camera feed we have in a 50-mile radius. We are going to find her." "Agent Sullivan, are any of your people in my mother's area right now?" "2 state troopers pulling up to the wagon wheel as we speak. Tell them not to move her if she's down. Do you understand me? Tell them do not move her. Do not load her into anything. Do not let any paramedic that has not been vetted get near her until I am in that parking lot. Tell them, Sullivan." "Marcus, tell them." "Copy. Relaying now." He hung up. He pressed the accelerator deeper into the floor. At 11:37, Marcus Kane came around the last bend on Route 26, and the yellow sign of the Wagon Wheel Diner rose out of the dark with red and blue lights pulsing across his face. 3 cruisers. No ambulance. Good. Good man. Good. He hit the brakes so hard the truck fishtailed. He was out before it stopped moving. Rex came over the gear shift and out the driver's door right on his heel. "Nobody move my mother, sir. Sir, step back, sir. I am Marcus Kane. My mother is Helen Morrison. My daughter is Emma Kane. I need to see my mother right now." A trooper stepped into his path, young, broad, a good kid, good enough to know this was above his pay grade. "Mr. Kane, she's alive." Marcus's knees almost went out from under him. "She's alive. She's alive, sir. She's conscious. She took a pretty good hit to the head, but she's talking. She is asking for you, sir. She is very worried about her granddaughter." "Where?" "In the booth. We didn't move her." Per Agent Sullivan. He went through the door of the diner so fast the little bell over the top of it rang like an alarm. "Mom." She was in a booth near the back. A waitress was holding a dish towel full of ice against the side of her head. Blood had run down the side of Helen Morrison's neck and soaked into the collar of her sweater and dried there. Her glasses were on the table, one lens cracked. When she looked up and saw her son, her mouth broke. "Marcus, oh Marcus, baby. They took her. They took her right out of my arms. I tried, baby. I tried so hard. He hit me. He hit me and I went down. And when I got up, she was just gone. She was just, Mom, 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 it's okay. It's okay. I've got you. I've got you. He slid into the booth beside her, and he put his arms around his mother, and she cried into the front of his fleece the way she had cried the day his father had died. Big shoulder-shaking sobs that did not care who heard them. She was 68 years old, and she had just watched a man pick up her granddaughter off a diner floor and carry her out of the world. How many of them were there, Mom? Think, it matters. Two that I saw inside. One older, one younger. The younger one had a scar across his eye. Like this, Marcus. Right across his left eye. Like a line. What did the older one look like? Gray hair. Tall. Cold eyes. Cold eyes, Marcus. I have never in my life seen eyes like that. Did he say anything to you? Think hard, Mom. Anything. He said, tell your son to bring what the girl hid. He said, tell your son he has until midnight. He said, tell your son if he calls in anybody with a base, the little one goes in the lake. The lake, Marcus. He said the lake. Marcus closed his eyes, Teton Pass. The boathouse, the drive. Cross's people did not just want the drive. They wanted Marcus to go to the drive. They wanted him to lead them to it. They had taken his daughter because a little girl's life was the one thing in the world they knew he would walk into fire for. And they were right. They were absolutely right. Mom, yes, baby, I need you to listen to me. I'm listening. I am going to get her back. I am going to get her back tonight. Do you hear me? I am going to bring Emma home to you. You stay with these troopers. You let them take you to the hospital. You do not argue. You do not try to come with me. If anything happens to me, you take care of my girl the way you took care of me. And you tell her every single day that her daddy did not have a choice. Marcus Kane, don't you dare talk to me like that. Promise me, Mom, you are going to walk out of this, son. You hear me? You are going to walk out of this and you are going to put that little girl back in my kitchen eating pancakes by morning. Yes, ma'am. Say it. Yes, ma'am. Pancakes by morning. He kissed her forehead. He stood up. Rex was already by the door. Ears up, nose working. Rex ground. The dog put his nose to the floor of the diner. He worked along the booth, along the tile, out the door, into the parking lot, and at the far edge of the lot where the asphalt gave way to a strip of dirty snow and a service road that curled back into the woods, Rex stopped, and he lifted his head, and he whined. Tire tracks, fresh, deep tread, turning east, good boy Rex. Truck, up. He put the truck in gear and he followed the tracks. Rex leaned forward on the bench seat with his eyes on the windshield like a man reading a map. At 11:49, the phone on the dash lit up. Unknown number. He answered. You're early. A man's voice, calm, middle-aged, every consonant clipped the way an officer clips them. Put my daughter on the phone, Mr. Kane. Put my daughter on the phone. A pause. A muffled shuffle. Then small, terrified. So small it cracked Marcus's heart in half like a dry stick. Daddy, Lily Bug, I'm here. Daddy's here. Are you hurt? I'm scared, Daddy. I know, baby. I know. Are you hurt? That is the most important question in the world right now. Are you hurt? No. But the man pushed Grandma. He pushed her hard, Daddy. I know. Grandma is okay. Grandma is with the police and she is okay. And she is waiting for you to come have pancakes with her. Listen to me, Lilybug. Listen to Daddy. Okay, you are the bravest little girl I have ever known in my entire life. Do you hear me? Yeah, I am coming to get you, I promise. Pinky, Pinky, I love you to the moon, baby. And back. Twice. Just to be sure. The phone was pulled away from her. The man's voice came back. Charming child, Mr. Kane, if you touch her. I have not touched her. I have no intention of touching her. I am a professional. I understand the difference between leverage and damage. I would like to keep this in the leverage column if you would permit me. What do you want? You know what I want. Say it. The tin under the floorboard. You will drive to Teton Pass. You will go alone. You will retrieve the tin. You will bring it to the coordinates I send you. You will not contact the FBI. You will not contact any local agency. You will not tip off Agent Sullivan. If any of those things happen, your daughter will go into the water, Mr. Kane. And the water under the ice is very cold at this time of year. And she'll be very frightened. And it will be entirely your choice. Do we understand each other? Marcus's hand on the steering wheel went white. We understand each other. Good. You have until 1 in the morning. Do not be late. The line went dead. Marcus drove. Rex laid his chin on Marcus's thigh. Marcus's free hand dropped to the dog's head and stayed there. At 11:56, the phone lit up again. Sullivan. He almost did not answer. He answered, I can't talk. Marcus. I can't talk, Sullivan. Marcus. They are listening, Marcus. Stop the truck. I can't stop the truck. Marcus Kane. Stop the truck right now. Listen to me. She's awake. She's awake and she has something to tell you and you need to pull over. He pulled over. There was a shuffling on the other end of the line, the sound of a phone being passed. And then Sarah Mitchell's rasping voice came through his dash speaker. Marcus, Sarah, I don't have time. Marcus, listen. There is not a drive in that boathouse. A freight train went through Marcus Kane's chest. What did you just say to me? There is not a drive in the boathouse. I lied. I lied in the room. I lied in case the room was bugged. I lied in case they had turned somebody on the staff. I lied because I did not know you, Marcus. I did not know you. And I could not risk handing my only leverage to a stranger until I knew which way you were going to jump. Sarah, the drive is in a safety deposit box at First Community Bank in Jackson Hole. I am the only signatory. You cannot get it out. Only I can. Marcus, they are going to send you to that boathouse and you are going to get there and you are going to find nothing. And when you find nothing, they are going to kill your daughter and they are going to kill you. And then they are going to come back here and they are going to kill me. And Cross is going to walk. Marcus's mouth had gone dry as paper. Sarah, they have my little girl. They have my 7-year-old daughter. They have her right now. And they said 1 in the morning. And they said in the water. Sarah, they said in the water. Marcus, I know. Marcus, I know. Listen to me. Listen. There is another way. There is another play. But I need you to trust me. I need you to trust a 25-year-old woman you met this morning. And I need you to trust her with your baby's life. Marcus Kane pressed the heel of his hand into his eye until he saw stars. Talk fast. Good. All right, here it is. I have a partner inside the Navy, a master chief from my father's old unit. He knows about the drive. He knows about the bank. He has a letter of authorization from me on file with his lawyer. In the event of my death or incapacitation, he can open that box. I have a recorded phone call time-stamped from 3 days ago giving him that authority. Marcus, I can give you a copy of that drive, not at the real one, a fake one. I built it. I built it 2 months ago. It has just enough real information on the surface to pass a 5-minute inspection. Deep in the files, it's junk, decoys, dead ends. It will buy you an hour, maybe 2, long enough to get your daughter back. How do I get that fake drive? Sarah, Sullivan has it. Sullivan's been holding it since Virginia Beach. She was going to use it as bait before any of this happened. Marcus, she was about to tell you about it when the text came in about your daughter. She's on her way to you. She's 12 minutes behind you in an unmarked sedan with a driver. She will meet you at the turnoff to Teton Pass. She will hand it to you, and then she's going to shadow you, Marcus. She's going to shadow you with a sniper team and a rescue element. And she is going to be on a dedicated channel in your ear the entire time. Sarah, they said no agents. They also said No daughter of a whistleblower was going to make it to NC. It's Marcus. They lie. They lied to me. They lied to my mother. They will lie to you. The only way you get that little girl out of this night alive is if Cross's people think they have won. So we let them think it, right up until the moment we take their knees out from under them. Marcus stared out the windshield into the dark. 12 minutes, she had said. 12 minutes. He had maybe 64 minutes total before his daughter went into a lake. Sullivan, I'm here, Marcus. If I do this, yes. If I do this and your team is 1 second late or one round off or one radio click out of sync, my daughter dies. I know. I want to hear you say it. Your daughter dies, Marcus. I know. And I am telling you as a mother that I will put my own body between her and any one of Cross's men before I let that happen. You do not know me very well. You are going to have to take that on faith. He closed his eyes. He thought about Emma's pinky. He thought about a 25-year-old lieutenant staring up at him from a hospital bed and asking him to swear on his child's life. He opened his eyes. Drive fast, Sullivan. I am driving fast, Marcus. He put the truck in gear. At 12:07, a black sedan came up behind him on the service road with its headlights off and its running lights dim. It pulled alongside him. The passenger window rolled down. Sullivan was in the back seat. She did not look good. Her hair was loose from its clip and there was sweat on her forehead despite the cold. She passed a small silver thumb drive through the window. Marcus took it. Real one still was Sarah. He said it. She'll give it to us once your daughter is clear. Not before. Smart girl. Smartest I've seen in 10 years in this job. The sniper. Ramirez. Marine Scout sniper. 2 tours. He's already in position a half-click east of the coordinates Cross sent you. He has eyes on the exchange point. He has been waiting there for 20 minutes because we started moving the second you left the hospital. Rescue element. 4 of my people plus 2 state SWAT. They are on the backside of the ridge. They will not move until I give the word or until a shot is fired, whichever comes first. And if it goes sideways. If it goes sideways, Marcus, the rules of engagement are very simple. Save the child. Save the child at all costs. Cross's people die where they stand. Marcus nodded once. He gripped the steering wheel with both hands. Let's go get my little girl. At 12:21, he pulled off the service road onto a narrow gravel track that curved down toward an abandoned airstrip on the east side of Teton Pass. The coordinates Cross's man had sent him pinged on his phone 200 yards ahead. A clearing on the tarmac. He killed his headlights. He killed his engine. He sat in the dark for a full 30 seconds and he let his breathing slow. Rex was breathing hard beside him. The dog knew. You don't leave my side unless I tell you to. You understand me, partner? You protect the small one. If anything in this world goes sideways tonight, your only job is to put yourself between Emma and any gun you can see. Rex pressed his head into Marcus's hand. Good boy. He tucked the fake drive into his inner breast pocket. He zipped his fleece up to the throat. He opened the driver's door. The air off the mountains hit him in the teeth. Sullivan, calm, check. Her voice in his earpiece, low and clear. I hear you, Marcus. Ramirez has eyes on you. He has eyes on 5 hostiles, 2 standing by a black Tahoe, 1 behind a tree line with their rifle, 1 approximately 15 yards north of the Tahoe sitting on the hood of a second vehicle, and 1 older woman standing next to him. Marcus's heart stopped. My mother. Your mother is there, Marcus. She is standing. She is holding your daughter. Marcus's throat closed. The bundle Sullivan had seen in the photograph was not just Emma. It was Emma and Helen together. Tell Ramirez if anybody moves either of them toward the woods, I want rounds downrange before they take a second step. Copy that. Marcus took a long breath. He looked down at the dog. Rex. With me. Quiet. He stepped out onto the gravel. He walked toward the clearing. His boots crunched. His breath fogged. Rex padded beside him, silent as a ghost. The soft click of his nails the only sound the dog made. Ahead in the thin wash of moonlight, he could see them now. Two men by the black Tahoe, rifles slung low across their chests. One man on the hood of a second SUV, and standing beside that SUV, her gray hair catching the moon, was Helen Morrison. She held Emma against her chest. Emma's pink boots hung limp, and behind them, leaning against the grill, hands in his pockets, like a man waiting for a bus, the older man Marcus's mother had described. Gray hair, tall, cold, cold eyes. The older man smiled when he saw Marcus walking across the gravel. "Mr. Kane," he called out, voice carrying on the cold air. "You're early. That's a good sign. That tells me you love your daughter. Let them go. Right here. Safe. Both of them. As promised. But you understand, Mr. Kane. Insurance. We needed to make sure you came alone. I came alone. Let them go. The drive first." Marcus stopped 10 paces from them. He reached slowly into his inner pocket. He pulled out the thumb drive. He held it up in two fingers. "Let them go. Set it down on the ground. Step back 10 paces. My man will retrieve it. Once I have verified the contents your daughter and your mother walk to you, nobody gets hurt. Everybody goes home." "You think I believe you, Mr. Kane? I really don't care what you believe. I care what you do." Marcus knelt slowly. He set the drive on the frozen gravel. He stood back up. He took one step back. 2, 3, 4. In his ear, Sullivan whispered, "Ramirez is green on all targets. Ramirez is green. Say the word." Marcus's eyes were on his daughter. Emma's little hand was clutching Helen's sweater. Her face was buried in her grandmother's shoulder. And Helen, 68 years old, beaten and terrified, stood there like a wall between her granddaughter and the men with guns. The older man gestured. "Pavel, take the drive." One of the riflemen by the Tahoe unslung his weapon and walked forward. He bent at the waist. He picked the thumb drive off the gravel. He walked it back to the older man. The older man produced a small, ruggedized tablet from inside his coat, and he slid the drive into a port, and he began to scroll. In Marcus's ear, Sullivan's voice was very soft, very steady. "Ramirez has 3 targets locked. The shooter on the SUV, the rifleman by the Tahoe, the man with the tablet. He can take all 3 in sequence. Your word, Marcus." Marcus did not move his lips. "Not yet. My mother is in the line. Copy, standing by." The older man scrolled and scrolled and scrolled. Marcus watched his face the way a man watches a doctor reading a test result. Every flicker of his eyes, every twitch at the corner of his mouth. Directory structure is consistent. The older man murmured, half to himself, "File names are consistent. File sizes are consistent." He opened one. He read. Marcus's tongue went to paper. "Mm-hmm." The older man said it. He opened another. He read. "Interesting." He opened a third. His eyes flicked up. They landed on Marcus's face and they stayed there. "Mr. Kane, let them go. Mr. Kane, do you know what the difference is between a good forgery and a bad one?" Marcus did not answer. A bad forgery is wrong on the surface. A good forgery is wrong at the core. This one is quite well made, actually. Whoever built it has talent, but it is wrong at the core. He slid the tablet back inside his coat. "Mr. Kane, I'm afraid we have a problem. Your mother has outlived her usefulness." He nodded to the man on the hood of the SUV. The man raised a pistol. And Helen Morrison, who had spent 68 years on this earth, raising a son and loving a granddaughter, and making the best peach cobbler in Teton County, did the last brave thing that she would ever do. She turned her body. She wrapped both arms around Emma, and she ran. She ran toward Marcus with Emma clutched against her chest, and her gray hair streaming behind her, and every ounce of strength left in her old bones pushing her forward. "Run, Marcus, run." The gunshot cracked across the airstrip like a whip. Helen stumbled. Her legs gave out. She fell to her knees, but she did not let go of Emma. She pitched forward, and she twisted her body at the last second so that she landed on her back, and Emma landed on top of her. Safe, shielded, protected by her grandmother's body one last time. Emma screamed, a sound that tore the night in half. Sullivan, green light, green light, green light now, now, now. Three things happened in the span of 2 heartbeats. The first rifle crack from the ridge. The man on the hood of the SUV, the one who had just shot Helen Morrison, snapped backwards off the vehicle with a hole in his chest the size of a fist. The second crack, Pavel, the rifleman, dropped where he stood. The third crack, the man with the tablet staggered, but he did not go down. The round had taken him in the shoulder. He turned and he ran for the tree line. Rex did not wait for an order. Rex went after him like a missile. And Marcus ran for his daughter. Emma, Emma, baby. Daddy's here, Daddy's here. He dropped to his knees beside Helen. His mother's eyes were open. Her hand was pressed to the wound in her stomach. Blood was already soaking through her fingers. Too much blood. Too fast. Mom, Mom, no, 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 no. Emma was screaming, crying, clinging to Helen's sweater. Marcus pulled her gently away. He passed her to a federal agent who had appeared beside him. Her name was Torres. She was a mother of 3. She took Emma in her arms, and she turned and she ran toward the tree line. Marcus. Helen's voice was a whisper. Marcus, baby. Mom, I'm here. I'm here. Don't talk. Don't move. We're getting you out. We're getting you out right now. Her hand found his. Her grip was weak. Marcus, listen to me, Mom. Tell Emma. Tell her grandma loves her. Tell her grandma will be with Mommy now, watching over her from heaven. Mom, don't you dare. Tell her. Her eyes were wet. Tell her I'm sorry I couldn't be braver. You are the bravest person I've ever known in my life. I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry I brought them to the diner, I thought. I thought I was protecting her. You did. You did protect her. You saved her, Mom. You saved her right now. Do you hear me? You saved her. Helen's hand went slack in his. Her eyes closed. One last breath, then no more breaths. Marcus Kane bent forward until his forehead touched his mother's, and he did not make a sound. He did not cry. He did not scream. He just knelt there in the frozen gravel, with his mother's blood on his hands and his daughter's cries echoing across the airstrip, and he let the world end. Sullivan was beside him. Marcus, Marcus, I'm so sorry. We have to move. We have to move right now. He stood. He did not look back. He could not look back. He walked toward the tree line where Torres was holding Emma. His daughter saw him, and she reached for him, and he took her, and he held her so tight she could not breathe. Daddy, Daddy, Grandma, Grandma won't wake up. I know, baby, I know. Why won't she wake up? Because Grandma is sleeping now. Lilybug, because Grandma is with Mommy. I want Grandma. I know, baby, I know. A shout from the woods. Marcus, we have him. Sullivan ran toward the sound. Marcus followed with Emma in his arms. 50 yards into the trees, Rex was standing over the man with the tablet. The man's shoulder was a ruin of blood and bone. He was on his knees. His hands were zip-tied behind his back, and Rex's teeth were 6 inches from his throat. Is he cross? He is not cross, Sullivan said it. Signals team just ran facial recognition. That is Douglas Merrick, former CIA operations officer. Cross's personal fixer for 14 years. Marcus, he is the man who killed Sarah's mother. We've been trying to put a face on that ghost for 8 years. Marcus handed Emma to Torres. Stay with her. Do not let her see this. Torres took Emma and walked back toward the clearing. Marcus knelt down next to Douglas Merrick. Merrick's face was gray. His breathing was shallow. A medic was working on the shoulder wound, but Marcus could see it in the medic's eyes. Merrick was not going to make it. Hey, Doug. Merrick's eyes focused on Marcus. You got about 10 minutes, Doug. Maybe less. I know. You going to spend them with me, or are you going to spend them alone? Merrick coughed. Blood came up onto his lip. You think I'm going to give you cross number 1? I don't think that. Men like you don't flip on the last day. But you might tell me why before you go, just so somebody on this earth knows. Merrick smiled, a red smile, a thin smile. Why Sarah's mother and yours? Marcus went very still. What did you just say? Your wife, Mr. Kane. Rachel, she wasn't supposed to be on that helicopter. We sabotaged the fuel line, made it look like mechanical failure. Cross wanted her gone. She had found the same paper trail Sarah found. She was going to testify. Marcus's hand tightened into a fist. You killed my wife. Cross killed your wife. I just carried out the order. Same as I did with Joanna Mitchell. Same as I tried to do with Sarah. Same as I just did with your mother. Marcus stood. He took 3 steps away. He put his hands on his knees. He breathed in. He breathed out. Then he turned back. Where is Cross right now, Doug? You know where he is. Tell me anyway. Airstrip, 70 miles south. Private jet. Flight plan filed for Belize. He will be wheels up by 4 in the morning. By breakfast, he will be in a country that does not extradite, and he will stay there forever. He has $300 million in accounts you are not going to find. Your government will issue a statement. He will issue his own statement. It will all blow over in a news cycle. Your girl will testify. Nothing will happen. That is what happens, Mr. Kane. That is always what happens. Sullivan was already on the radio. I need that airstrip locked down. I need every road in and out shut. I need the FAA notified. Do not let that plane fuel. Do not let that plane roll. Do not let that plane receive a pilot. Go, go, go. Merrick coughed again. More blood. Tell the girl. Tell her what? Tell her her mother's pie was the best in 3 counties. And tell her mine never was. His eyes closed. One long breath, then nothing. The medic looked up at Marcus and shook his head. Marcus walked back to where Torres stood with Emma. His daughter's face was buried in Torres's shoulder. He took her gently. He held her against his chest. Sullivan, right behind you. What airstrip? Teton County Regional. Private, 70 miles south. Just like he said, I have units rolling. Marcus, Cross has his own security detail. 6 men minimum. Ex-Blackwater. Ex-HSG. All season. This is going to be a gunfight if we are late. Are you late? We are going to be close. How close? Maybe 15 minutes close, maybe 20. Marcus thought about his daughter. He thought about Sarah Mitchell, 25 years old, lying in an ICU bed in Jackson Hole. He thought about Joanna Mitchell, 46, librarian, best peach pie in 3 counties, poisoned over 6 months by a man in a white van. He thought about Rachel, his wife, his love, killed in a helicopter that was supposed to be safe. And he thought about his mother lying in the gravel behind him, and he knew with absolute certainty that if Cross got wheels up, Cross would spend the rest of his natural life drinking cocktails by a swimming pool in a country Marcus was not allowed to name. Sullivan. Yeah, call Jackson Hole Memorial. Get me a line to Sarah. Marcus, call Jackson Hole Memorial and put Sarah Mitchell on this earpiece. Agent Sullivan. She called. 40 seconds later, a rasping voice in his ear. Marcus. Sarah, is she? She's safe. She's in my arms. Merrick is dead. He gave up Cross before he went. Cross is 45 minutes from wheels up at Teton County Regional. FBI is 15 minutes behind him. I need the real drive, Sarah. Right now, I need it. If we put Cross in the air, we will never see him again. A pause. Sullivan, yes, ma'am. My pocket, my coat, in the property bag from the hospital. Inside lining, left side. There is a slit. Cut the stitching. Look inside. Sullivan's voice went small. Sarah, cut the stitching. Agent Sullivan. Sullivan must have had the coat in the sedan. Marcus heard the rip of fabric through the radio. He heard a small metallic clink. I've got it, Sullivan breathed. It was on me the whole time. Sarah said it, and there was something in her voice that was not quite a laugh, something closer to a sob. Every minute, every breath, it was stitched into my coat when they grabbed me. They searched me 6 times. They never found it. I knew if I died, I wanted it on my body. I knew whoever found my body would find it. I knew somebody would. Sarah. It's the real one, Marcus. Bank accounts, wire transfers, 3 senators, 2 judges, a deputy director at DOD, 18 months of surveillance from inside the operation. My mother's tox report, audio of Cross ordering the hit on her, audio of Cross ordering the hit on me, audio of Cross ordering the hit on your wife. It's all on there. All of it. Marcus's eyes burn. Sullivan. I'm spinning up a secure upload right now. I can have the entire drive in the hands of the Deputy Attorney General in 4 minutes, Marcus. 4 minutes. The second that happens, every federal asset in the continental United States gets a wake-up call about Vincent Cross. He will not be allowed into the sky. 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Do it. Doing it. Marcus pressed his forehead against his daughter's hair. Lilybug. Daddy. Do you hear Daddy's heart? Yes. That is the sound of a bad day getting a little bit better. Hold on to that sound, baby. Just hold on to it. At 2:17 in the morning, Agent Sullivan's voice came back into Marcus's ear. And for the first time since he had met her, Kate Sullivan's voice was not quite steady. Marcus. The file is on the Deputy AG's desk. She is on the phone with the White House Situation Room. Every unit in Wyoming is rolling on Teton County Regional. The FAA has pulled the plane's clearance. The airstrip has lost its fuel privileges. We have him, Marcus. We have him. Not yet, we don't. Marcus. Not until he is in a cell. Sullivan. Copy. A state trooper approached them through the trees. He had his hat in his hands. Sir, Mr. Kane, Agent Sullivan, we got word from the airstrip. Marcus went still. Talk to me, trooper. Plane tried to roll. Fuel truck driver saw FBI vehicles coming up the access road and he pulled his truck sideways across the taxiway. Blocked the aircraft. Cross's security detail opened up. 2 troopers took rounds. They are both in stable condition. I'm told one of the security contractors is dead at the scene. The other 5 are in custody. And Cross. The trooper's mouth tightened. Sir, Vincent Cross tried to run across the airfield on foot. Tried to flag down a private Cessna that was taxiing out to runway 25. The Cessna pilot, ma'am. The Cessna pilot is a retired Air Force colonel who recognized him from the news. The pilot hit the brakes and opened his door and yelled at Cross to get on the ground or he'd run him over. Cross drew a pistol. The pilot ran him over anyway. Sullivan blinked. Alive. Alive, ma'am. Compound fracture in both legs. Broken pelvis. Internal bleeding. They are airlifting him to Jackson Hole Memorial right now. The same hospital as Sarah Mitchell. Yes, ma'am. Marcus stared at the trooper. Sullivan stared at the trooper. Then Sullivan was on her radio, and her voice was not quiet anymore. Her voice was the voice of a federal agent cutting every corner in the rule book at once. I want an entire floor of Jackson Hole Memorial locked down. I want federal marshals outside every elevator. I want Sarah Mitchell moved to a new room in a new wing with a new nameplate. I want Vincent Cross in the ICU directly across from my own boot and nobody else's. Nobody gets in that building without my clearance. And I do mean nobody. And I do mean until I say so. Do you hear me move? The trooper moved. Sullivan turned to Marcus. Her face was wet. We got him, Marcus. We actually got him. Marcus held his daughter tighter. No, Sullivan. No. No, we haven't got him yet. Marcus. Sullivan. That man is being airlifted to the same hospital where the only witness in the world that can testify against him is lying in a bed. And you just told me every single one of Cross's people we've ever met in this life has been willing to die to finish a job. We do not have him. Not yet. Not until that woman walks out of that hospital on her own 2 feet and takes that stand. Sullivan's jaw worked. Get in the truck. She said it. I'm already getting in the truck. He carried Emma across the clearing. He did not look at the shape under the blanket that used to be his mother. He could not. Not yet. Not now. Rex trotted beside him. He opened the passenger door of the pickup. He buckled his daughter into the middle of the bench seat. He wrapped the warming blanket tighter around her. He put Rex on the floor at her feet. "You do not leave her side," he told the dog. Rex did not need to be told. Marcus climbed in. He twisted the key. The engine roared. And somewhere in the black Wyoming sky, a medevac helicopter was carrying Vincent Cross toward the same building where Sarah Mitchell lay recovering. And for the first time in 30 years, Vincent Cross was not smiling. 7 weeks later, Marcus Kane sat in the back row of a federal courthouse in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and watched Sarah Mitchell take the stand. She wore her dress whites. Her hair was pulled back. Her hands were steady. And for 9 days straight, she looked Vincent Cross in the eye, and she told the truth. She told the jury about the spreadsheets, about the wire transfers, about the shell companies and the senators and the judges and the deputy director at defense who had taken Cross's money and looked the other way while American weapons ended up in the hands of terrorists on 3 continents. She told them about her mother, about the compound in the thyroid medication, about the tumor that appeared where there had not been one, about the white van across the street from the funeral. And she told them about Rachel Kane, about the helicopter, about the sabotage fuel line, about the order Cross had given to make sure a Navy medic who had found the same paper trail never made it home to her husband and daughter. The jury came back in 4 hours, guilty on 127 counts, 8 consecutive life sentences in a federal supermax in Colorado. No parole, no possibility of appeal that was ever going to matter. Vincent Cross was led out of that courtroom in shackles. And as he passed the gallery, he looked at Sarah Mitchell one last time, and he smiled. "You think this is over?" He said it quietly, just loud enough for her to hear. "I have friends in places you can't imagine." Sarah looked back at him. Her gray eyes were cold as winter steel. "You had friends. Past tense. They're being arrested as we speak. 18 senators, 6 judges, 42 contractors. They're all going down with you, Mr. Cross. Every single one. And when you die in that cell, nobody's going to remember your name." 14 months later, Vincent Cross suffered a massive heart attack in his cell at ADX Florence. The official report said natural causes. The unofficial report said an inmate with ties to one of the families Cross had destroyed got close enough to slip something into Cross's food. Nobody asked too many questions. Nobody mourned. Sarah Mitchell was promoted to lieutenant commander. She was offered a position at the Naval Academy as an instructor. She turned it down. "I've had enough of institutions for a while," she told Marcus over the phone. "I think I'd like to see what it's like to just be a person again." 6 months after the trial, Sarah knocked on the door of a cabin at the edge of Teton National Forest. Marcus answered. Emma was behind him. Rex was at his feet. "I was in the area," Sarah said it. "Thought I'd stop by." Marcus smiled for the first time in what felt like a year. "Come in. Stay for dinner." She stayed for dinner, and then she stayed for breakfast. And then she stayed. Emma took to calling her Aunt Sarah. Sarah taught Emma how to skip stones on the creek behind the cabin, how to read a compass, how to tie a bowline knot. And one night when Emma asked about her grandmother, Sarah sat on the edge of her bed and told her the truth. "Your grandmother was the bravest person I ever met. She saved your life, Emma. And someday when you're older, I'm going to tell you the whole story. But for now, I want you to know that she loved you more than anything in this world. And she's watching over you from heaven with your mama. And they're both so proud of you." Emma thought about this for a long time. Then she looked up at Sarah with her big brown eyes and said, "Are you going to stay?" Sarah looked at Marcus standing in the doorway. Marcus looked down. "Yeah, baby," Sarah said it softly. "I'm going to stay." 2 years after the night on the airstrip, Marcus Kane stood on the porch of his cabin and watched Sarah Mitchell playing catch with Emma in the front yard. The sun was setting over the Tetons. The air smelled like pine and coming rain. Rex lay at his feet. The dog was 10 now, slower, grayer, but still loyal. still watchful. Marcus, Sarah called from the yard. You going to stand there all night, or are you going to help me teach your daughter how to throw a curveball? He walked down the steps. Emma ran to him and he picked her up and spun her around, and she laughed the way only a 9-year-old girl who feels safe and loved can laugh. That night after Emma was asleep, Marcus sat on the porch with Sarah. They did not talk for a long time. They just sat. The silence between them was comfortable, easy. The silence of two people who had been through hell and come out the other side. Sarah, yeah, I have something to say to you. All right. I'm not good at this. I'm not going to be smooth. My wife died 6 years ago. I did not think I was going to love anybody else after she went. I thought my heart was full. Emma and my mother and Rex, and that was going to be the whole of my life. And I made my peace with that a long time ago, okay? But then a dog dug a hole in the snow, and a 25-year-old sailor woke up in an ICU bed and told me the truth even when the truth might have gotten her killed. And she survived a thing no person on this earth should have to survive. And she walked into a courtroom and she put the devil in a cell. And somewhere along the way, Sarah, somewhere along the way, I started loving you so much that I cannot remember what it was like to not love you. And I do not want to remember. I do not want to go back to a day where I did not love you. Not ever. Sarah's eyes filled. Marcus, I know I am older than you. I know I have a daughter. I know my life comes with a cabin at the end of a gravel road in a state that gets 30 inches of snow a year. I know I am not smooth, and I know I am not rich, and I know I do not have a ring in my pocket right now because I did not want it to feel planned. But I am asking you anyway. Marry me, Sarah. Please marry me and let me spend every day I have left making sure you never, ever have to be alone in the dark again. She did not answer right away. She reached over and she took his hand. She held it up between her own two hands and she looked at it. Really looked at it. The rough palm and the knuckles and the old scars. And then she pressed it to her cheek and she closed her eyes. Yes, she said it. Marcus Kane. Yes. They were married on a bright, cold Saturday in February. The ceremony was in the front yard of the cabin. Sullivan came with her husband and her 2 children. A few of Marcus's old teams showed up. Sarah's brother flew in from Idaho. Emma was the flower girl. She wore her pink snow boots because she refused every other pair of shoes her grandmother had tried to put on her. And she scattered rose petals across the snow with the seriousness of a Supreme Court justice. Rex was the ring bearer. The rings were tied to his collar with a white ribbon. He padded up the aisle with his head high and his tail slowly wagging. And when he reached Marcus, he sat down neatly at his heel and waited to be told what to do next. Good boy, Marcus whispered. Good boy, Rex. The old shepherd looked up at him, and Marcus would have sworn in a court of law that the dog winked. When the pastor got to the words that mattered most, Sarah Mitchell, formerly Lieutenant United States Navy, 27 years old, gray eyes clear as a winter sky, looked up at the man who had pulled her out of a grave, and she said the 2 words that for the rest of her life she would say were the easiest words she had ever said. I do, said Marcus Kane. And Emma Kane, aged 9, standing between them in her pink snow boots, pumped her little fist in the air and shouted, yes! Everybody laughed. Everybody cried. Rex barked once, sharp and happy, at exactly the right moment. They spent the years that followed on purpose. They spent them on pancake breakfasts and on softball games in the front yard. They spent them on long walks in the woods where once a dog had dug a hole. They spent them on another baby. A little boy named Sam who came 2 years later and who loved his big sister and his mother and his father with the unembarrassed love of a child who had never had a single reason in his life to believe that the world was anything other than good. Rex lived to be 14 years old. He died peacefully in his sleep on a Sunday morning in May. Marcus and Sarah buried him under a red pine at the edge of the property. And on his headstone, in the small, tidy handwriting of a woman who had once been a Navy lieutenant, the following words were carved. He found the lost. He guarded the small. He was the best boy in the world. Sarah visits that headstone every year on the first snow. She brings a biscuit. She leaves it there. And every year without fail, the biscuit is gone by morning. On another clear, cold morning in February, Marcus and Sarah stood in a small cemetery in Jackson Hole, two headstones side by side under an old cottonwood tree. Rachel Kane, beloved wife and mother, her truth lives on. Helen Morrison, beloved mother and grandmother, redeemed by love. Sarah laid flowers on both graves. Marcus stood with his hands in his pockets and his eyes on the mountains. You would have liked her, Rach, he said it quietly. And I think she would have liked you too. I think you sent her to us. I really do. Sarah slipped her hand into his. Emma and Sam stood on either side of them. A family, whole in a way that felt impossible 6 years ago, but now felt like the only thing that had ever made sense. They walked back to the truck. Emma asked if they could get ice cream. Sam said he wanted chocolate. Sarah said she wanted vanilla. Marcus said he wanted both, and everybody laughed. And somewhere far above them, in a sky so blue, it hurt to look at directly two women who had loved the same man in different ways, and who had both given everything to protect the people they loved, watched over a family they had helped to build, and they were at peace. Because in the end, the story was always going to be about this, not about the evil that men do, not about the darkness that swallows the unwary, but about the light that refuses to go out, about the father who ran into the snow, about the Dio who would not stop digging, about the girl who would not stop fighting, about the mother who gave her last breath to save her granddaughter, about the truth that no amount of money or power or violence could bury forever. Marcus Kane pulled out of the cemetery parking lot with his family beside him and the mountains ahead of him, and he thought about a voice he had heard 6 years ago in the cab of a truck on the worst night of his life. Cross. That one word had changed everything. And in the end, it had not been a name. It had been a promise that the truth would come, that justice would follow, that good men and women still existed who would run toward the fire when others ran away. They say the coldest winter always comes before the warmest spring. Marcus and Sarah and Emma and Sam had buried their past in the snow, and they had built their future on the truth. And that truth was this: love always wins, justice always comes, and the wolves, no matter how patient, no matter how powerful, no matter how well connected, always, always, always lose in the end.